Welcome to Applied Statistics course. So you will expect a complete video lesson, and for each lesson, there will be an introduction of the statistical tool, step-by-step process on the use of statistical application, suggested format in research context, and corresponding performance-based assessment. So I will be your instructor. You can call me Sir Joe or Doc Joe. So I'm a faculty member under BSEd Mathematics program at Cotabato State University College of Teacher Education. Enjoy learning statistics. Let's have now another statistical tool. So we have Pearson product moment correlation. Before understanding that statistical tool, let's revisit the concept of correlation. Correlation describes the degree or magnitude of relationship between the variables. The measure of correlation is called the correlation coefficient, denoted by small letter r. And the degree of relationship is expressed by coefficient which range from the correlation r is greater than or equal to -1 and less than or equal to +1, meaning values will include decimals or fractions between -1 and 1, of course. That includes -1 and +1. 1 here is actually a perfect correlation, a +1, and -1 here is also a perfect correlation, a -1. Meaning, if it's positive, direct relationship, negative, indirect or inverse relationship. We also have here 0, and 0 exists. That is zero correlation or no correlation at all. Okay, let's have the Pearson's correlation now. The Pearson product moment correlation coefficient, or for short, Pearson's correlation, is a measure of the strength and direction of association that exists between two variables measured on at least an interval scale. So this is the most commonly used correlation, but remember, before we will use this one, we have to consider assumptions first, okay? So that we are really be guided that we are using the appropriate statistical tool. Okay, let's connect the concept. You could use a Pearson's correlation to understand whether there is an association between exam performance and time spent revising. So usually, I believe you have experienced a bring home exam, for example, and when you do that exam, of course, you need a time, sometime, a period to accomplish it. And when your score is returned, of course, you can also measure the time you spent revising, finalizing the output. You can actually correlate the score you got. Actually, the scores, okay, we will consider a group, for example. We can correlate the exam scores or performance with the number of hours, maybe, okay, the period they spent revising or finalizing the exam. We will know here if the exam score is associated significantly with time spent revising. Okay, let's proceed with basic terminologies first so that you will understand really, okay, later in the next part, specifically when we consider values. So it would be easier for you to understand. So let's start with p-value. It's a probability value level of statistical significance. We also have small letter r. It is the measure of the strength of association that exists between two variables. So what is good with correlation? Later you will see that there's a legend that we can use, and we will know in that legend, okay, we can see there, okay, the intervals where different strengths of association okay, are included. So we also have the sign of R, the measure of the direction of association that exists between two variables. As I said earlier, so it can be positive, so direct relationship as increases, y decreases. On the other hand, as x decreases, y decreases. That's positive R. Negative R is inverse or indirect relationship as x increases, y decreases, or as x decreases, y increases. We also have Shapiro-Wilk test, okay, a test for normality. So it is used in assessing normality of samples. So usually it is the most commonly used test for normality because it can cater not only less than 50 samples but also as large as 2,000. More than that, okay, you will learn in the regression, okay, another test, okay, for normality. Okay, it's time for us to learn the different assumptions under Pearson's correlation. Number one, assumption number one, your two variables, the predictor and the outcome, should be measured at the interval or ratio level. They must be continuous. So, let's check again the variable type or measure in your JAS. I have prepared here. So we have here height. It's continuous. The distance also, it's continuous. This is actually jump distance. So basically, we were able to meet, okay, the first assumption. Second assumption, there is a linear relationship between your two variables. So we can actually check this one using a scatter plot. Okay, so for instance, we have here, so this is a linear. Of course, if it will form curves, it is non-linear. So before we can use, okay, to have a better result, okay, we have to make sure that, okay, using the scatter plot, okay, this assumption is met. So we will use, okay, the same data. So we can actually proceed with this. Okay. Regression, correlation in the classical. And then by default, it's already checked Pearson's R. Okay. And then let's put this height and distance in the variables box. And we can see here scatter plots. Okay. So automatically, okay, it will be provided. And as you can see, okay, it is most likely forming, okay, a line. So basically, the second assumption is met. Okay, we also have the third assumption. There should be no significant outliers. So we have to avoid extreme values. So we can also see this one in the scatter plot. Okay, if you can see, if there is an outlier, okay, the measure of strength, the value of R, okay, is actually lower. But if we can remove the outlier, okay, the R will increase. Okay, so we will check if there's an outlier in our result. So most likely, okay, there's no significant outlier. And that means, okay, we can proceed with the next assumption. Okay, so basically, okay, there are only four assumptions in the Pearson's correlation, so this is the last one. Assumption number four, your variables should be approximately normally distributed. So we have to make sure that our data is normal so that we can use this parametric test. Otherwise, we have to use an equivalent non-parametric test. So we will see if the data is normal. If the data is normal, okay, we have to check the sig value or the p-value of the Shapiro-Wilk test. It should be greater than 0.05 or 5%. If it's below 0.05, the data significantly deviate from a normal distribution. So we will see. So what's good with JASP? Okay, we can check here assumption checks. It's automatically here since we have two variables, so pairwise Shapiro. And as you can see, the sig or the p-value is 0.819 or 81.9%, which is above 5%, meaning the data is normal. So going back to this, so basically we have achieved this assumption. So since the four assumptions are met, we can proceed, okay, on the use of Pearson's correlation, okay, for our study.